Guys, well, we will wrap up and head into our housing market update. Thanks, John. I'll tell you when to start dancing, John. Hold on. Wait for it. Now.
Hardin County Housing Market update.
Hey!
Hey.
Thanks, John. I appreciate you dancing despite not being able to hear the music. So, all right, guys. Well, I am Rachel Brantingham. I'm bringing you guys your housing market update for the last week, also over the last 30 days. Big thing, make sure to go to hardinlocal.com. I actually find what Phil has built out there useful even for my own clients, but it's got the trends. So we've been tracking all of the information since January. So everything that I'm going to bring to you guys is all sourced from the Hardin Kentucky Association of Realtors MLS. So what we have noticed is that the housing market has a rhythm. You've probably noticed it as well. Every year, there are moments where people wonder, has the market slowed down? Is something wrong? This week, the numbers tell us something really interesting. So over the 4th of July holiday, sales activity slowed exactly as we expected. But buyers didn't disappear. In fact, our team continued showing homes. I had showings on multiple listings. I even had showing requests on the 4th of July holiday, which I thought was incredible of the agents that were out there doing it, and really spoke to the fact that buyers are still pouring into this area and still searching for the right home. The market, however, you'll note in today's numbers, it paused, but it didn't stop. And understanding the difference could make all the difference if you're planning to buy or sell this year. So here's some quick rundown on numbers. We had 29 new listings that came on the market, and this is over the past week. 17 homes went under contract, and 22 families moved into their new home over the holiday week. So hopefully they got to spend 4th with their families inside the 4 walls. We currently have 400 active homes on the market. That's down. So you know how last week I was talking about inventory on the rise and we kept seeing it go up and up? It actually dipped back down. Average days on market increased slightly to 75. We were at 73. It's gone up to 75. We'll watch to see if that pushes back down next week or if we continue to see those numbers increase. The average list price was $356,114. The average sold price was $338,240. One of the graphs that Phil built us is actually tracking the list to sold. And you can see that gap tightening over the past 6 months. And so if you're considering listing and you're trying to maybe negotiate an offer that you received and you kind of want to take a look at what people are typically coming off as far as price point when they're actually selling their homes, that's a great graph to reference. I would guide you there. Median sold price came in just under $300,000 at $299,445. Overall, Hardin County now sits at around 3.5 months of inventory. It's a very healthy, very balanced market. It's leaning a bit seller, but we're seeing, and as I break these numbers down a little bit more, we're seeing opportunity for buyers in a lot of the different price points where they're actually more heavily buyer markets than they are seller markets. Here's a couple things that stand out to me. A week ago, I thought inventory would continue climbing. Instead, inventory actually fell. So the question is why, right? Why is that happening? I don't think necessarily demand suddenly increased. I think both buyers and sellers hit pause for the holiday weekend, right? I mean, people just wanted to settle in and be with their families. But interestingly, of course, those showings remain consistent. That's an important signal. It tells me buyers are still engaged. They're still looking. They're just taking a little bit more time before making decisions. And honestly, that's what we'd expect in a very balanced market. I talked about this a little bit in the last couple of weeks. The markets that are running inside of the larger market. Okay, so we have this big, large market that we're referencing as Hardin County, 3.5 months worth of inventory on the market. These numbers are market wide. But if you as a buyer or you as a seller are going to be listing or buying in a certain price category, let's break that down for you because those numbers are very different. So under $250,000, we have 2.9 months of inventory. So what you should know as a seller, you can probably get a little bit more for your home right now. And as a buyer, you're probably not going to be able to negotiate every single thing that you want and or get them to come off the list price dramatically. That is a seller's market. 250 to 400,000, we've got 3.5 months of inventory. So that is kind of the heartbeat of Hardin County real estate. There's a lot of inventory in that number. There's some opportunity there, but it's still pretty balanced there as well. Okay. Now, over 400,000, 4.5 months of inventory. Now we're starting to lean more towards a buyer's market. And in buyer's markets, buyers, you guys could get more aggressive on the sale price. You might be able to get more repairs, negotiate closing costs, those kinds of things. So if you're searching over that 400,000 number, and that includes the luxury listings in the millions. So, just know there's a little bit more balance to that market. And then of course, luxury. This is an interesting one for me this week. So I know as I've spoken to you guys over the past few weeks, luxury takes a long time to sell. Well, we only have 3.3 months of inventory on the market. And the reason why, they also take longer to close. So a luxury listing goes under contract. Typical timeline is 30 days. Often in the luxury world, we see longer closing periods because of inspections being in more detail. Maybe there's longer times for the sellers to move out. So we had 4 luxury listings close in the last 30 days in Hardin County with only 13 available properties. So that's a huge number, and it kind of speaks to the fact that people are still buying over that 800,000 price point, and we're still moving those homes. My team got 2 under contract last week that are over that $1 million range. So we are still seeing activity at that price point. This is more from an educational standpoint. Oh, okay, good.
For those $1 million.
Thank you. I appreciate the clap. We're very excited. So bringing to you guys just a little bit of education. So one thing that I've been thinking about this week is how dramatically technology has changed the real estate game. So, in the past, it took a lot longer to get the information out to potential buyers. Whereas now, with the use of the MLS, Zillow, Realtor.com, social media, technology has sped up that gap. So what statistically has been researched and stated is that within about 14 days of your home hitting the market, virtually every current active buyer searching in your price range has seen it. Outside of that, then you're just chasing down new buyers as they pour on the market. Okay. So they're seeing it on Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com, MLS alerts, social media. If meaningful activity hasn't happened after those first couple weeks, it's time to stop hoping and probably start evaluating. At that point, you want to ask yourself 3 questions. First, is the marketing exceptional? So does the curb appeal look great? Is my house staged well? Were high level photography used? What kind of video footage was taken? So take a look at your marketing. If you're satisfied with the marketing, you need to move to the second question, which is the home's condition competitive? So take a look at your neighbor's house that's also for sale and assess whether yours pops, right? Do you need to paint? Do you need to update a few things? And then you come to that third and final question. Is the price aligned with today's market? And just because it might align price per square foot against price per square foot, really dig into it. Is the value there? Does your home have the same size yard? Does yours home have a covered back porch? These are things that don't necessarily attribute to the dollar per square foot value. But if your neighbor's comes with a covered back porch and a hot tub and a fenced in backyard, and yours has a wooden deck, you shouldn't be using the same price per square foot to evaluate your home. So those are kind of the 3 questions you want to start asking yourself. And then just keep in mind, the market moves really fast. So sitting and waiting isn't always the best approach. Obviously, dependent on your price range, there's a lot of, I would once again connect with your agent, have a conversation about your goals and your motivation, because that is always, guided by those 2 things. But within 14 days, current active buyers have most likely seen your home and have made a decision whether they are going to or not going to tour it. kind of what I'm watching next, guys. As we come out of the holiday weekend, I'm watching one thing, and I'm watching it very closely. In fact, I've been kind of pulling numbers day to day just to see how we pick back up. But does buyer activity accelerate? Okay. So school starts in just a few short weeks. That's wild to me. August 6th is Hardin County's first day back to school. We're less than 4 weeks away. Now, it just so happens to be the exact amount of time it might take me to get you into your new house. So if you are wanting to get out of that school district and do a new school district and time to start school there, let's go ahead and get you shopping. But an even bigger one, we are 171 days away from Christmas. So if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I don't want to spend another Christmas in the same four walls, I don't want to spend another winter cooped up in this house, you want to start thinking about, hey, let's go ahead and start looking at getting on the market. There's a slow period where real estate tends to die down. It's historical. It kind of starts in the beginning of November and it stays through middle of February. And reason being, people don't want to move during the cold season and they certainly don't want to disrupt their family holidays. So now, this next quarter is the window of opportunity if you're considering selling. All right, guys. Well, that is our Hardin County Housing Market update.
And real quick, Rachel's numbers now are live on the site over the week, hardinlocal.com. And you can go to the housing market tab and then there's a link to the dashboard where you can look at the chart prices, tiers, and whole history of this year. It's updated with this week's number as of now. I wasn't able to get it on screen because I messed up, but we'll have it on screen.
No problem.
Well, you won't be here, but
we might film my housing market update. We can talk about that. So
all right. Well, here we go, John. We're doing another jingle, right?
All right, John, get ready. I am cracking up that John can't hear these today. What is up with your speaker system?
I don't know. I can hear you. I can hear Scott. I couldn't hear Phil just this last time either. He was very muted. Yeah, I can't hear him at all.
We're about to switch.
I think it might be something with that new setup he's got.
It's too fancy for us.
It could be.
You said it could be after I said I think you're too fancy for us. We knew it. We knew it.
I mean, I wasn't responding to that because I didn't hear it. But I mean, I did. But you know what I mean.
I hear all y'all.
I'm not too fancy for anybody. Just my tech may be a little too fancy.